Welcome to Flamp Flamp Sports. My name is Richard Harris, and let's talk sports. Welcome to Flamp Flamp Sports. My name is Richard Harris. April 3rd, 2016 starts the Major League Baseball season, highlighted by the Sunday night game, which is a World Series rematch between the Kansas City Royals and my New York Metropolitans. Now, for some crazy reason, baseball has decided this year that it needs a triple header on opening day, which is odd. But who am I to judge, complain, considering how much I love me some baseball? Some traditions are bucked because of media, because of money, because of ratings. But for me, I can never get enough of baseball as I'm watching a preseason game now between the Dodgers and the Angels. Last season was a year to remember for me as my baseball team made it to the World Series unexpectedly. They rode the hot arms of their five starters, the four youngsters, and Bartolo Colon. The bullpen was effective. The bullpen got the job done, timely hitting, and of course the acquisition of Yoenis Cespedes. Now they have him for a full year. So tonight I'm going to try to preview the Major League Baseball season in one show. Hopefully it won't bore you. Hopefully I'll speak succinctly, and hopefully I will be 100% right at the end of the year when I give you my predictions of who will be in the World Series. So let's start. The division with the most money, the American League East. Big Papi swan song. David Ortiz is calling it a career. He has been a beast for many seasons since coming to Boston after many years in Minnesota when he was a platoon player. And now he is a Hall of Fame player, but won't get in because of the steroid allegation in 2003. The Red Sox this year felt they loaded it up by adding David Price, getting Craig Kimbrell, going to give the reins to Mookie Betts and all the other young kids from the farm team, mix that in there with Pedroia and with Papi, and think they have what it takes to challenge for a title. Hanley Ramirez had an off year last year. When he's healthy for a full season, he produces. The Red Sox have already benched Pablo Sandoval, but they expect him to be ready to go in May, hoping that he has lost some weight and is able to be the player that he is in these even seasons from his days with the Giants, when the Giants were going to the World Series and doing well in the postseason. But this division is loaded. Toronto has the hitting. They have a lot of unknown pitchers who are postseason tested, but still are not household names. Stroman is a beast. But when you have the reigning MVP in Donaldson, Batista, you got Encarnacion, Tulowitzki, they're going to score runs. The question is, how many runs are they going to give up? Their bullpen is excellent. Their starting pitching is kind of, day-to-day, game-to-game. But the team to beat in this division, you have to beat Toronto. The Yankees are still the Yankees. Jeter's gone. CC is now number 5 starter, to let you know how that has changed. A-Rod is now over 40. are going to be over 40 this season. This team is older. They know how to play baseball. They picked up a good player from the Cubs, and he can play to go along with Didi Gregorius. Starling Marte is his name. And, he's been an all-star, so he just fits right in. They got the players. They got good pitching. They got a good bullpen getting Chapman. Again, the key with the Yankees is health. And if A-Rod can produce what he did last year, and Teixeira can play like he did last year for most of the season, the Yankees could be a factor. But they have a lot to overcome. They've already lost Chapman for 30 days because of domestic violence. They have lost... Well, Miller's going to try to pitch with a bone chip in his hand, which is crazy. But offensively, they have the tools. The question is, again, this division is going to score a ton of runs. And it's going to come down to what bullpen can stop whomever. Because I haven't even talked about the Baltimore Orioles yet, which I'm about to right now. And they're loaded as well in their offensive lineup. I mean, basically, to go see an American League game, you need to bring blankets, you need to bring food, you need to bring your wallet, because you're going to be there for a while. Because the Orioles are loaded too. Wieters is going to be back after, a year of kind of learning how to play again. Machado is ready to be a superstar that he already has started to show that he is. Adam Jones is one of my favorite players. Then you got Davis, who's coming off another huge home run season. They can score with anybody. The question is, can they stop people? And the pitching staff is a bunch of no-names as well. And the bullpen is not very solid. So, you go to see a game in the American League East, bring your survival kit, because you're going to need it. Because these games are going to be 3 hours long. At least. Maybe even 4 hours long. Overall, I think Toronto is still the team to beat. I think Baltimore, Boston, and New York are going to have good seasons, and they're all going to battle for the 2 wild card spots. But the American League is loaded. Which leads us to the next division. We're going to talk about the American League West. That division has got upstart team in Oakland who's trying to rebound from last year's bad season. Seattle can score 700 runs, but also give up 700 runs. Texas, last year was the shocker of the year because no one thought that Texas was going to be able to pitch their way into the postseason, and all of a sudden they pick up Cole Hamels, and now they got Darvish back, so they got a 1-2 punch, and hoping that the rest of their pitching, can be healthy. And you got the Angels. Angels have no pitching, but they got a lineup that is scary. I mean, Garrett Richards, you take away him, and who they got? Jared Weaver's not the same guy. But the bottom line is, everything starts and stops with the Houston Astros, who I didn't even mention. The Astros have unreal talent. Correa, beast. Springer, beast. Keuchel, beast. They have so many great players that are young and hungry. They throw in Gomez to give them attitude. They got pitching galore. If they had gotten Aroldis Chapman as a closer, I would put them as the odds-on favorite to win the American League. But the Astros are loaded. For me in this division, Mike Trout might be the best player. Keuchel might be the second player. But he's the kind of pitcher that could pitch a team to a championship, like Madison Bumgarner did for the Giants a few years ago. Would not be shocked if the Astros represented the American League in the World Series. Texas has got a sick offense. Seattle, sick. Again, you're going to be around for 2-hour and 50-minute games or 3-hour and 30-minute games in these divisions, except for if you play Houston. And Houston can play you any which way you want to play. You want a high-scoring game, they can play that too. fun division to watch, and I'm glad I'm out here to watch it. Central Division in the American League. Interesting divisions. Because not a lot to challenge the Royals, who are the defending world champions. The Royals don't have any players still that anybody can name, even though they've been in the last 2 World Series. Lorenzo Cain is a superstar, but as they said at their, a championship ceremony, nobody would know that. Mike Moustakas, beast. Hosmer, beast. Escobar, Perez, they got all these players that, last year the Royals were winning the All-Star vote. They had 8 people who were about to be voted into the game before other people started stuffing the ballots. It was going to be Mike Trout and the Royals. And legitimately so, the Royals got back to the big game and beat the Mets. So how do you stop the Royals with this division? White Sox are not as good as they should be. Chris Sale's their only pitcher. They got a lot of young talent. Abreu's a stud. Klay Thompson's brother can hit. But this team is not on the way up. It's on the way. No one knows what direction it's going in. Cleveland's got great pitching. But can Cleveland score runs? All Cleveland's good players they keep getting rid of. Detroit has an offense that can play with anybody. They got a couple good starting pitchers still. But Verlander is not the same guy. Cabrera can still hit no matter what. V-Mark can hit. J.D. Martinez can play. But their problem is they can't stop nobody. Minnesota's an up-and-coming team. Minnesota has got these young kids. They signed a kid from Korea who was the home run champ over there. They had 54 home runs there last year. 2-time MVP. They got Sano, who is a tremendous player, who is ready to become a superstar. They still got Joe Mauer. They still got some of these other young guys who can flat out play. But can they pitch? They think Phil Hughes is an answer. But the reality is, no matter how good this team is going to be next year, they're a year away, got to beat the Royals. And if they can beat the Royals, anything is possible. For me, I don't even want to waste your time talking about the Central because it's the Royals and everybody else. In fact, the American League is the Royals and anybody else. And until you can outpitch them with their 100-mile-an-hour arms in the bullpen, that's going to be the team that everyone thinks is going to come out of the American League. Houston can slug with anybody. Houston has, Keuchel is good enough to take on the Royals' top starters, but is Houston's bullpen good enough to compete? Toronto, again, bullpen good, starting pitching. We don't know these people. We got to learn them. Yankees have good starting pitching. Bullpen might be solid, but they're aging. We don't know how many games you're going to get out of them this year. Angels, love the Angels. I love the Angels. I love Mike Trout and Pujols. But I take a step back this year. They lost some good players. But at the end of the day, it's Kansas City in the American League for me. And we'll do the National League after this.